Howdy, folks. I'm Dan the Toucan Sandwich Man.
I thought it was Dan the Sandwich
Oh,
Toucan.
well, it's the name you gave me,
Yeah,
so
so Dan the Sandwich
so
Toucan.
I'm Dan the Sandwich Toucan.
It's a long story. It has to do with Brian and being absurd.
Amber, it's the name Amber gave me, so
He
she
was
is
saying
accepted this as my
I
new
have not.
name,
He
and
was telling me
I
he was going to legally change his name to Dan the Can Man or something like
the
that.
Pan
Oh,
Man.
Pan Man. And so I just changed it to Sandwich Toucan because he got confused. He was calling himself the Sandman at one point. And so Sand reminded me of Sandwich. And yeah. But this is Brian. I'm Amber. And here's some Reddit.
So our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Paying to Change My Father's Gravely Insulting Gravestone? My father and mother had a very bitter marriage towards the end of his life. He had a long-running affair with another woman, co-worker, and got her pregnant before he passed. He was planning on leaving mom, skip the country, and move to Canada and start a new life with her. They had a house picked out and everything. He moved out and was living with his co-worker when he suddenly died of a heart attack while having adult fun time. Divorce papers were never filed. No legal separation. They were in the process of moving all the things legally, but on paper, they were still happily married. Now me and my siblings are already out of home. Our youngest is 19 and she's in college. I work for a tech company and I'm currently back at my hometown helping my mom manage his estate. Well, my mom was hurt and petty and marked his gravestone as in loving memory of John Doe, son, husband, father, and adulterer. My dad's family and his pregnant partner are mad and want me to fix it. I personally think it's fine. That's who he was. He was all of those things. And since it's my mom's plot, I really can't do anything. Am I the jerk?
No.
I mean, she kind of made this decision. I mean, you also have to kind of like live with die with the consequences. So, like, it's not like she said something overly insensitive here. I mean, she just called it out the way it is.
Yeah, well, it's literally like, it's not like this is an unknown thing. Like, everyone knows that he's been cheating and his girlfriend's pregnant.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, I mean, in some ways, like, when his girlfriend goes and visits the plot, I mean, that might be a little hurtful for her and remind her of the situation, but I mean, also, why allow her to have the luxury of forgetting it?
right, well, she's also married.
Yeah.
And so they're both committing adultery, so.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's all that bad. Like, she wasn't super petty about it, but she did make a point about it.
Yeah. And I don't think that it's OP's, like, I don't know why they're doing this to OP
Yeah.
also. Like, it's not
Yeah.
his battle to fight.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
This is not OP's business. If in the future his mom's like, "Hey, I think I made a mistake. Would you help me fix the tombstone?" Then he can offer to help pay.
our next story is, am I the jerk for not wearing the dress my husband told me to and upsetting my mother-in-law at her anniversary party? My husband and I haven't been getting along at all recently. As far as everyone we know is concerned, we're as happy as ever though. So I still go to all of the events he goes to. On Saturday, my in-laws hosted a party to celebrate their anniversary. A few days before the party, my husband gave me a dress and told me to wear it on the day. It rubbed me the wrong way, and even though the dress was beautiful, I decided I wouldn't wear it. When it was time to leave, and he saw I was wearing a different dress, he told me to go and change. I knew it wasn't worth arguing with him over it, especially since we were already late, so I told him I would wait for him outside. At the party, my mother-in-law asked my husband why he hadn't given me the dress. He confirmed he had, and my mother-in-law asked me if I didn't like it and told me I should have told her and she would have gotten me a different dress. Honestly, I didn't know what to say because I assumed the dress was from my husband, since no one mentioned otherwise and my mother-in-law looked upset. My husband ended up telling her it didn't fit because I gained a lot of pregnancy weight and I was too embarrassed to admit it to anyone. My mother-in-law gave me a long speech about how I didn't need to be embarrassed and it was normal. I ended up feeling really guilty because she seemed sad that I hadn't worn the dress, and I would have had I known it was from her. My mother-in-law is a lovely person, so upsetting her makes me feel bad. After his mother left us alone, My husband asked me if my little tantrum still felt good and told me the next time I should ask before I try to make a point, and that now he knew not to try to give me any type of olive branch. Am I the jerk since the only reason I didn't wear it was to be petty and I really loved the dress?
You know, this is a little bit of a difficult situation. I think like OP was of course being a contrarian, and some people are just contrarians, but demanding that she wear the dress, I think, is where her husband went wrong here. And
Yeah.
I think he probably knows that she has a contrarian streak, and he didn't explain the situation. He didn't say, "Oh, here's a present from my mom. She would like you to wear this during her party," because
Right.
that would have been a nice olive branch to extend, right? But he was just like, "Wear this." It sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like he intentionally wanted to embarrass her.
Yeah.
Because, like, again, if he had just said, "Oh, my mom gave you this dress to wear to her party," then OP would have done it. He instead is like, "Wear this," and
And like if you know that your partner is a contrarian and you demand something out of them, then you're going to be, in for at least some of a struggle there, I think.
right. Well, it's just not cool to demand your partner do something anyway.
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
fine to be like, "Oh, hey, I got you a dress if you want to wear it to the party," like, and have it as like an option. But to be like, "Wear this," that
Yeah.
doesn't feel very good.
No, it doesn't feel very good. So I think this is a little bit of a unfortunate situation, and I think that there was probably some premeditation on the husband's part here. But yeah, it's kind of a sad situation. Our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for not telling the new employee that most of the others have criminal records?" So I'm a 30-year-old female and I run a small machine shop. I inherited it. My dad left it to me because I couldn't get another job with my record, and I returned the favor by recruiting from the local halfway house at times. I do look into their cases. These are people that serve their time and are transitioning into the community. So paperwork keeps piling up because I'm busy on the floor. So I hire an admin, a 23-year-old female. All is good for a few months until she approaches me in the smoking area one day and says she has something to tell me. So we go into my office. She then proceeds to tell me that one of the machinists has a check writing charge. She Googled him because she was pretty sure he was the guy her aunt dated and he went to prison. I basically said, "Oh, interesting," mostly because I didn't want to confirm or deny. She said that she figured I would want to know so I could fire him. I said, "I have 3 felonies myself, so I don't think I have a no felony policy because that would be a bit hypocritical, don't you think?" She got all upset and said I should have told her, and I told her that I have no obligation to. She says that I should have warned her, and she put in her 2 weeks. My friends think that I'm in the right, but her friends sure don't. She and her friends tried to blast me on a local Facebook page, but the admins took it down, so there's that. So Reddit, am I the jerk? Edited ad, I'm a 30-year-old woman, just saying because of a lot of comments seem to assume that I'm a man. Also, no predators are hired. So, I mean, why is it this administrative assistant's business who she hires?
Right. Like, I don't even think you're really supposed to disclose that sort of information.
Yeah.
Like, it's someone's, private information. If you choose to hire them, then.
Yeah, well, I think if you do a background check, you can find that information out, and anyone can find anyone's information out with a criminal background check. But, like, again, I don't know, like, I think there are some laws to prevent discrimination and whatnot. I mean, I don't know.
I
the
just
extent
mean,
of
like,
it.
I don't think you're supposed to, like, go around telling your other employees, like, "Oh, by the way, this person has felony charges and this person has felony charges."
Yeah, well, they could probably easily look it up, too, if they really were invested in it. I mean, after all, she was able to find it pretty easily, right?
Yeah. And so, but like, I think what OP's doing is really good
Yeah.
here. And, having any kind of criminal conviction doesn't necessarily mean someone is a bad, irredeemable
Yeah,
person.
exactly. I mean, we have a really big prison rate in our country, and some are very minor offenses. And
Yeah.
I think it's really important for us to sometimes judge and weigh the gravity of someone's previous, crimes, and decide whether or not they're a right fit for the job. Of course, you probably don't want a convicted bank robber working at a bank, right?
Right. You gotta weigh the situation, but
Yeah.
OP is seems to have like no problem, choosing employees who she thinks will be a good fit for the business.
Yeah.
And
Although a convicted bank robber might be a really good person to help develop the security system of a bank.
that's
If
true.
it wasn't like armed robbery, that is.
Yeah.
Armed robbery doesn't require any bank robbing skills. Let's put it that way.
Our next story is, am I the jerk for ruining my husband's game because he didn't help with our son? Background. I'm a 33-year-old female, and I have been with my husband for 5 years, and we have a 3-year-old son together. We both work. I'm an executive, and he's a gynecologist. He loves watching sports games, especially live streams. Due to his work, he tends to miss so many games, but he tries to catch the replays. Yesterday, he was at home on the couch watching a game while our son was playing in his room. Our son then came running downstairs and tripped and fell on his knee. He started crying while I rushed to check in on him. My husband didn't even take his eyes off the TV screen, even turned up the volume when our son was crying. I went to get the first aid kit, and I heard my husband repeatedly telling our son this, "Quit yelling, I'm trying to watch the game here," and "I said stop," and so on. Our son was obviously in a lot of pain, and he couldn't control himself. My husband got fed up and shouted, "Quit yelling like a girl," at the top of his lungs, which sent our son into silent mode. I get mad, I started arguing with him, and he tried to focus on the TV and ignored what I said. I took our son to his room after patching him up, then went and turned off the TV to get him to listen. He looked stunned, asking why I did that, and I told him our son just got injured and he did nothing but yell inappropriate stuff instead of helping out. He argued this was his last chance to watch the game and that it was important. I replied that no game was more important than his son, and he said it was obviously a minor injury, but our son was exaggerating. We kept arguing back and forth, and he got mad, saying I ruined the game, and implied that he was being neglectful just because he was too busy to get off the couch. Then grabbed his jacket and phone and went out to meet his friends. He's been upset ever since, saying I hurt his feelings and ruined his game and blew up and overreacted greatly. He's expecting me to apologize when he gets back from work. Am I the jerk? Did I exaggerate?
Oh, yeah, OP,
No.
you were pretty exaggeration
No.
here. So what I would suggest in the future is the next time he is watching football, pack up your stuff and leave because he won't notice that you're gone. I don't. I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek here, of course. I mean, this guy. What? Why are you still with this guy, OP? He sounds like he's verbally abusing your child.
Yeah.
He's a young child, and he might want to catch his game, but why is he so invested in a game that he would be willing to berate his own child and not comfort them? And sometimes parents do rush to a kid too soon, and they might not be really injured, and the kid might enjoy the attention, so to speak, right? But this doesn't necessarily sound like that was the case here. It sounds like he actually really injured himself to some degree, right? And it is important to know the difference and not to rush up to your kid anytime they're crying. But the other flip side is that if your kid is really injured, you should comfort them.
Well, I don't even think that's necessarily a bad thing to comfort your kid if they're crying, because there's something that's wrong there, whether it's a physical injury or something else. So, but yeah, I 100% agree. OP went and got a first aid kit, so there's some kind of physical damage to his body, and so that he would just yell at him, telling him to stop. First of all, kid is 3. I'm an adult, and if I start crying, I can't stop it. Telling a 3-year-old to just stop crying, that's just such a harmful thing to do. And then being like, stop crying like a girl. Like, anyone can cry. It's not a feminine or masculine trait, and it's a really damaging message to say, oh, well, you're a boy, so you can't show any emotions.
Yeah, I don't think that was in good taste at all. All right, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not leaving my lifelong contract with a company to work for my brother-in-law? I'm married to my wife of 10 years. Her brother recently started a company. I was a worker of a company that was founded 20 years ago. It was the start, and I was being one of the major employees that worked very hard and got the company to where it is now. As a result, 5 years ago, I was offered a lifetime contract by my employer for the hard work and loyalty to the company. I accepted the offer, and I'm genuinely known in my field of work. Now, brother-in-law is starting a company which offers almost the exact same services. If I join, I will be definitely attracting clients and will be a huge boost for the company. However, this business will be against the company that I currently work for. My brother-in-law asked me to leave the company and join him. I really don't want to. My wife says that she thinks that I should join brother-in-law, but would support me regardless of my decision. However, we might receive a lot of backlash from her family. After a lot of thought, I rejected him. He's been mad, and her whole family is becoming garbage towards her. I am totally up for offering him advice and giving him tips, but I cannot do anything that directly contributes to his business as it states in my contract. I wouldn't have even considered this at all if it was for a friend, but it's my wife's brother and her family that are against her, and that's what's troubling me very much. My wife still tries to be happy, but I can see that it clearly is bothering her. My friends, who I asked about, are divided about it. Am I the jerk?
No.
Yeah, well, also, it depends what's in this contract. Like, if there's a no-compete clause in this contract, then he might not even be able to go and work for a competitor. And it does not sound like a very good deal on his part, right? He's spent all this time, energy, and effort building up this business, and his brother-in-law basically wants to use him for,
to get his own business started.
Yeah, to get his own business up and running. Like, what would stop OP from going and starting his own business? And the answer is nothing, right? He could do it. He could easily do it. So why should he work for his brother-in-law in a very similar, capacity? So I think that the thing is that brother-in-law knows that his business isn't going to be as successful as it could, and he's not willing to take the time to grow it. And it took 20 years for OP to help grow the company he's currently working for. So, I mean, between the contract, which could have like a no-compete clause, which would forbid OP from even working for his brother, and the fact that, he just probably is very comfortable with his position now and doesn't want to, spend the rest of his life building up another business, it just seems like a really raw deal for OP.
Yeah.
And what happens is if his brother-in-law's business goes under? Like he has a really secure and safe position now.
Yeah. I mean, he basically has a contract for the rest of his life. They're like, yeah, we'll keep you on. Whereas with brother-in-law, I mean, it's a new business. Anything could happen.
Yeah, it could shutter in a year. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving it a like. If you didn't, consider giving it a dislike. Thanks to Amber for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
And so we also had a little bit of an experience today with a little tiny snake.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to tell them about it?
Sure. So Brian and I were walking along the bike trail, and all of a sudden I see, it looks like Brian rolled his ankle, like he just stumbled, and I looked down, and there's this little tiny snake, and it's rearing up at him. So he kind of tripped over the snake, and snake was fine.
Well, yeah, it's a very, very small snake.
It's just a little baby, and it has its little fangs out. It's rearing at him, and so when we see snakes on the bike trail, we try and scare them off so they don't get run over, and sadly it does happen.
Yeah.
And so Brian walks up to the snake to try and scare it off, and it just keeps lunging at his boot, bangs out. Eventually he did manage to scare it off, but it took a good minute of this little baby snake coming at this giant boot.
Yeah, it was really persistent. They're usually very, I think it got into its fight mode because usually they'll just slither away very quickly. But this one was like had a lot of fight in it. I was very impressed. I was like, wow, this snake. I still don't want you to get run over, but maybe I'll be able to post some pictures of it. I think Amber has a couple on her phone.
I took some pictures of it, yeah.
So, yeah, maybe I'll share those and you can see our little snake friend who was a very brave snake, but very stupid.
Yes. It's like, you're lucky, little snake, that we wanted to save you and not hurt you.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's our fun little story for today. Let us know if you have any fun stories. So, yeah. Anyhow, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.